Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, reading rainbow. Get ready for contract talk. We're jumping into Article 3, right, picking up right where we left off. We left off talking about Section 308. We're going to jump in at 309 and discuss from there. So grab your Inside Wireman agreement if you are a Local 26 member. If you're not, just follow along. We're going to learn how to read this legalese together. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Section 3.09 describes what a resident is. If you remember, Article 3 discusses the referral procedure for Local 26. Section 309 describes what a resident is. And here's what it has to say. A resident means a person who has maintained his permanent home in the above geographical area for a period of not less than 1 year, or who, having had a permanent home in this area, has temporarily left with the intention of returning to this area as his permanent home. So a resident just means you live within the geographical area and you've been there for at least a year. And if you aren't there currently, you're only away temporarily and you intend to stay there once you get back. That's a resident. That's 309. 3.10 describes examinations and what that is. So, an examination shall include experience rating tests if such examination shall have been given prior to the date of this procedure, but from and after the date of this procedure shall include only written and or practical examinations given by a duly constituted inside construction local union of the IBEW. Reasonable intervals of time for examinations are specified as 90 days. An applicant shall be eligible for examination if he has 4 years experience in the trade. So you'll have a experience rating tests and a written and a practical. And I imagine if you got to come back to retest, you'll only have to deal with the written or practical part of the examinations. That's what I get from reading that. Reasonable intervals of time for examination are specified as 90 days. So 90 days apart. An applicant shall be eligible for examination, again, like we said, 4 years of experience in the trade. Section 3.11, we're talking about the out of work list. The union shall maintain an out of work list, which shall list the applicants within each group in chronological order of the dates they register their availability for employment. So the out of work list is exactly that. It is a list of members who are out of work, or people that are out of work that are looking for employment, listed in chronological order from when they registered. Section 3.12 or 3.12, re-registration. What do we mean by re-registration? An applicant who is hired and who receives, through no fault of his own, work of 40 hours or less shall, upon re-registration, be restored his appropriate place within his group. So if you get called out, you take a job and you go out to a job and they work you for less than 40 hours or 40 hours only a week, and they send you back to the hall, that's not your and if it's something that you didn't do, that like they screw it up and send you back to the hall, you don't lose your spot on the out of work list. You know what I mean? Because the longer you're out of work, the higher on the list you are. The newer you are out of work, you're at the bottom of the list, and you got to work your way up the list to get the next call. So if you take a call and it only lasts a week and then they lay you off and it's not your fault, instead of going all the way down to the bottom, you get restored right back to where you were before you took that call. And section 3.13, referral order. Employees shall advise the business manager of the local union of the number of applicants needed. The business manager shall refer applicants to the employer by first referring applicants in group 1 in the order of their place on the out of work list, and then referring applicants in the same manner successively from the out of work list in Group 2, then Group 3, and then Group 4. Any applicant who is rejected by the employer shall be returned to his appropriate place within his group and shall be referred to other employment in accordance with the position of his group and his place within his group. So the way the referral order goes, Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, and if an employer rejects someone who is sent to them from the hall, that person does not lose their place on the list. You may be thinking, if you haven't been following this channel very long, you may be thinking, well, why would an employer be able to reject someone you send to go to work for them without working them and seeing if they're worth rejecting or not? And I ask you to go back to section 303 for that one. Rejection of applicants. The employer shall have the right to reject any applicant for employment. I really think that section 303 needs to go. We should not be giving the employer carte blanche to discriminate. But that's just my opinion, and who am I? Anyway, that's where we're going to leave off on 3.13, the referral order. We're going to leave it there. We'll pick up next time at section 3.14, referral order exceptions, because there's exceptions to every rule. At least that's a cliche I've heard. Anyway, my name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Remember, the fight's not left and right. It's up and down, and it's going to take class solidarity to win always. Each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. And don't forget, there can be no union without you and I, front and center. Peace out.